Hi there, welcome to my Allotment Garden YouTube channel. My name is Emma, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you the top 10 most common mistakes not to make as a new allotment plot holder from someone who's made every single mistake going. I hope that these 10 mistakes to avoid really help you to get you started on your allotment garden journey. It's honestly so much fun. It's the best thing that I've ever done, but there are lots of things that you can do just to make your life a little bit easier, and I really hope this video helps. If it does help, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would love to have you along as a subscriber, and let's get stuck in with the top 10 most common mistakes to avoid as a new allotment plot holder. So the first mistake to avoid is not growing what you like to eat. This is such a simple one, and I think you probably heard it a few times, but when you get your first allotment plot, you're going to be incredibly tempted to just grow everything that you can, and that's fine, that's great, you should be excited about it. However, do try to avoid growing things that you really dislike eating, because all that's going to happen is that you're going to get a massive harvest of it, because that's just what happens on an allotment plot. You always manage to grow the things that you don't like as much, and the things that you love always tend to be really difficult to grow. You're going to end up with so much produce, and you're going to have so much stress trying to get rid of it all. So try not to grow anything that you don't like to eat yourself. Number 2 is not planning your space well. Whether you are lucky enough to have a massive allotment plot space or a really small one, it's definitely worth taking the time to really plan your space. Think about the sun, what areas get the most sun, what areas don't get as much sun. Is there shade? Are there trees overhanging over your plot that are going to drop leaves or cause a lot of shade? Where are you going to place your shed? Is your shed going to cast shadow over some of your plot? These are really important things to think about. Try and think about the things that you want to grow and what sunlight that needs and how much space that stuff needs. And also try to consider crop rotation as well. It's not a great idea to plant the exact same plot in the same place every single year, because you're increasing the risk of spreading diseases. So you're going to want to rotate those crops. If you find an area of your allotment plot which gets a lot of sun, and you want to grow lots of summer loving crops there, think about having enough space or creating enough beds to be able to rotate those crops around year after year. Number 3 is not thinking about paths and pathways. Loads of people in my allotment sites do not have paths. They don't consider them, and it just makes it really difficult in the winter time if that's when you want to come. I've wood chipped my paths because it's cheap, it's easy, it keeps the weeds down, and also it stops any mud from developing, so that I can come here over the autumn winter as well. I've also made them wide enough to fit a wheelbarrow down, and also wide enough for me to bend down over my raised beds. But thinking about your pathways is really important. It's a great thing to go with point number 2 of planning your plot properly. It's going to save you so much hassle in the future, trust me. Number 4 is not making a compost heap, and I am definitely in this category, and I have made this mistake myself, which made it really difficult to try and decide where to put my compost heap when I finally decided to get my butt into gear and make one. When you grow your own vegetable crops or fruit crops, you're going to end up with a lot of produce to be getting rid of, and lots of old plants, especially when you grow annual vegetables, which you most likely will, and all that stuff has to go somewhere. The best place to put it is in a homemade compost area, and then you can develop your own compost heap. You can create your own compost, which then regenerates your allotment plot, which is not only amazing for the environment, but also saves a lot of money, and also saves a lot of time as well, and effort of having to buy compost. So having a compost heap and having somewhere for all of these old crops to go is really essential. Number 5 is not protecting your crops early enough and strongly enough. I cannot tell you how heartbreaking it is to come back to your allotment plot after a couple of weeks to find that all of your newly planted crops have just been completely eaten and killed and destroyed by every other animal except you. Early protection is definitely best. Try to keep protection organic. Things like crushed eggshells, organic mulches and things that keep away slugs and snails is probably better than putting down pellets. You don't really want to be introducing a load of pesticides and different chemicals into your soil. Nets, cloches, things like that, but just get it in early is my main advice. Just get those protections in early as possible. Number 6 is not being realistic with the time that you have to spend on your allotment plot. Yes, allotment plots are a lot of work, but they don't have to be totally time consuming. You can choose to grow longer growing crops like pumpkins and sweet corn. I don't think it should put you off if you don't have all the time in the world to spend on your plot, but definitely just try to be a little bit clever with what you plant. Number 7 is not collecting rainwater. Rain is free, it's really great water. Not only that, it brings down all the minerals and nutrients that your plot needs. Your plot thrives on rainwater. So collect it in any way you can. The easiest way to do it, I think, is to put some guttering up on your shed and attach it to a big water butt. Remember to put a lid on your water butt so that the water doesn't evaporate in the sun, which is a mistake that I made in my first year. But rainwater is honestly just the best water for your allotment plot. Don't waste it, collect it. Number 8 is not thinking about the wildlife. You are not the sole owner of your allotment plot. You share your space with an abundance of wildlife, and that wildlife needs to be encouraged and invited in, not only because it's the right thing to do, but also because it can actually really help you. It can help your plot. Encouraging a really biodiverse kind of ecosystem at your allotment plot means that a lot of the pest problems that you might have otherwise had is kind of taken care of by nature itself. Birds like to eat caterpillars and slugs and snails. Hedgehogs love to eat slugs and snails. Put a wildlife pond in and you might get some frogs to come and eat your slugs and snails too. All of these things will really help to protect your plot and look after it and make it a really biodiverse environment, which is going to ultimately mean your job as a gardener is easier and you're going to get some really lovely crops, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Number 9 is not staying consistent. Consistency is key. You won't always wake up every morning feeling really motivated to go down to your allotment plot and shovel a load of manure and pull out a load of weeds for a few hours. You're just not going to feel motivated all the time, and especially when the weather gets colder and it's raining and maybe you just don't feel like going out that day. So consistency is really the thing that you're going to be relying on. If you're just waiting for inspiration and motivation, you're going to be leaving your plot for long periods of time, and it's going to become overgrown, and then by the time you do get down here, it's going to be unmanageable basically. So staying consistent, keeping a timetable, a schedule of when you can come to your plot, and then sticking to it, and just making sure that you get stuck in with just a couple of jobs. Just weed a couple of beds at a time, just do one big job, just plant out one thing. That consistency is going to make it so much more manageable. You're not going to end up with an overgrown jungle again basically. So stay consistent. Number 10 is my absolute favourite, and it's a mistake that I don't want anybody else to make, and luckily I didn't make this one, and it's not documenting your progress. On those dark winter days when your plot is completely dead and it's covered in frost and snow and nothing much is growing, flicking back over pictures of the summertime and the springtime is enough to motivate anyone. It reminds you that the seasons are fleeting, that they're changing, and that the spring and summer will be around soon. It helps you to look back and see how far you've come, which can really help to motivate you if you're feeling a little bit down in the dumps about things. It can also give you great ideas of what worked last year and remind you what didn't work, what you did wrong, what you could do better, what crops you might want to try next year. So just documenting your progress is just such an incredible way of being able to look back and get ideas and inspiration, and I would just definitely recommend it. You don't have to post it anywhere, you just have to look at it yourself. Just take a few pictures on your phone, take a video, but I would just definitely recommend documenting your progress in some way or another. So there you have it. There are my 10 most common allotment plot gardening mistakes that beginners make, and the ones that you should definitely try to avoid. I hope they've helped. If they did, do share my video and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll be back again with some more allotment gardening tips and advice soon. Thanks for watching everyone. Bye!